चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Dear devotees, today we are beginning a new chapter, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, 10th Canto, chapter 58. And we will be reading the first two verses of this chapter. Shri Shukadev Goswami is telling King Parikshit. Text 1. Shri Shuka Uvacha Ekada Pandavan Drashtun Pratitan Purushottamah Indraprastham Gata Shriman Yuyudhanadibhirvritaha. Translations and purports by the humble disciples of our beloved founder Acharya, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhai Charana Arvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada. Translation. Shri Shukadev Goswami said, once the supremely opulent personality of Godhead, Purushottama, went to Indraprastha to visit the Pandavas, who had again appeared in public. Accompanying the Lord were Yuyudhana and other associates. Purport. Almost everyone except Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram had thought the Pandavas perished in the fire set by Duryodhan in the house of Lac. Now the Pandavas had appeared again in public, and Krishna was paying them a visit. In this material world, dear friends, we all go through situations where we are sometimes comfortable and sometimes we are in distress. That is just the nature of this world. It is a world of dualities. Dualities means sometimes there will be happiness, sometimes there will be sorrow. Sometimes we will be successful, sometimes we will be unsuccessful. Sometimes we will be treated nicely and honored, and sometimes we will be humiliated and dishonored. Sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. That's just the nature of this material world. They are the two sides of the coin. We get both. And it is not that if we are Krishna conscious, if we are God conscious and pious, bad things will not happen to us. Nowhere in any holy scripture it is said or promised like that. Because if we are in the material world, the material conditions will affect us. When we wake up in the morning after sleeping and we do not brush our teeth, foul smell will come from the mouth. Whether we have chanted 16 rounds the previous day or whether we have not chanted 16 rounds. Is it not? So just because we are Krishna conscious, it does not mean that material laws, material conditions will not affect us. They will affect us. So, what is the use of practicing spirituality? What is the use of practicing Krishna consciousness? Krishna consciousness gives us the only way to rise above the dualities of material world. If a person does not have a spiritual foundation, when they go through the dualities of life, success and failure, happiness and sorrow, they get very much affected and influenced and controlled by these experiences. When people associate with mode of ignorance, they are affected by that. When people in general associate with mode of passion, they are affected by that. And when people associate with mode of goodness, they are affected by that. But a devotee, a truly practicing devotee, rises above the three modes of material nature. The problem with the three modes of material nature is they keep us bound to this material world where there is repeated experience of dualities, where there is birth, old age, disease, death, intermixed with some happiness to keep us attached here. For some time, we will enjoy good health so that we get attached to good health, and then there will be ill health. That's just the nature of this world. And ultimately, it's going to be ill health. Even the fittest person in this world will have ill health as an end result. Nobody can escape that because we are all getting old. Whether we are Arnold Schwarzenegger or Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson, the end result is going to be we are going to be weak, we are going to suffer from diseases, and ultimately we are going to die. Death is the ultimate blow to our good health. And that blow we will all sustain. It's just a matter of time. Krishna consciousness helps us rise above these dualities, these experiences of the material world. Because Krishna consciousness places us with Krishna, who is beyond this material world. So the Pandavas were most pious, ethical, moral, sober people. Yet, there was an attempt to murder them by none other than their own uncle and cousins. And everyone thought that they had perished in that attempt. But in this verse and in the purport, it is explained everyone except Krishna and Balaram, which teaches us a lesson that no matter how this world perceives us, no matter what the world thinks of us, Krishna and Balaram, Lord Balaram is the original spiritual master. So Lord Balaram represents the Guru Tattva, and Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Guru and Krishna will always know the truth. And this, for a sincere practitioner of Krishna consciousness, is a big solace. It's a comforting feeling that, okay, I may be misunderstood by people of this world, but Guru and Krishna, they know my heart. They know the truth. For a sincere devotee, this is very reassuring and hope giving and comforting. But for an insincere practitioner, this is a source of great guilt and anxiety and insecurity. So let us try to be sincere devotees with the knowledge that Krishna and Balaram know everything. Lord Ramachandra knows everything. Let's go to verse number 2. Drishtva tvam agatam partha mukundam akhileshwaram uttasthur yugapad virah prana mukhyam ivagatam. Translation: when the Pandavas saw that Lord Mukunda had arrived, those heroic sons of Pritha, the heroic five sons of Kunti, the Pandavas, all stood up at once. Uttasthu, they stood up immediately, like the senses responding to the return of the life air. Purport: the metaphor used here is quite poetic. When a person is unconscious, the senses do not function. But when consciousness returns to the body, all the senses spring to life at once and begin functioning. Similarly, the Pandavas all stood up at once, enlivened to receive their Lord, Shri Krishna, Krishna and Balaram. So, this is a very beautiful metaphor that has been used by Shri Shukdev Goswami here. When we are unconscious, we have this experience every day when we sleep. When we are sound asleep, when we are sleeping soundly, we are not aware of what is happening around us. But when we wake up from sleep, immediately all the senses come to life. Immediately we reach for the phone. What time is it? What messages came overnight? Let me look at my email or WhatsApp. Immediately the eyes become active. They want to see, they want to read the news. The ears become active. They want to hear the sound. Is the sun up? Are the birds chirping? I can hear the garbage disposal truck in our lane that comes every Tuesday morning. So as soon as we are roused from our slumber, all the senses become active. But when we are sleeping, all these senses were inactive. Similarly, when Krishna comes in our life, we become enlivened. Without Krishna, our life is very dry and incomplete and meaningless. This is what Shukdev Goswami is telling us in this verse. Krishna consciousness is simple for the simple. But if we are sincere in the practice of Krishna consciousness, if we are in a prayerful mood, then this practice of Krishna consciousness will give each and every one of us a very special type of joy, which is very simple, yet very deep, very satisfying, very sustainable, and very wholesome. Material enjoyment is neither sustainable, nor is it organic, nor is it wholesome. Analyze any material sense gratification in this world. Go to Fifth Avenue. I have not been there, but I have heard it has got many nice shops. Go to any of these malls and you see people thronging these malls or these places of enjoyment to acquire things for themselves. Let me swipe my credit card and buy things. And the premise is, by acquiring the latest fashionable attire, by acquiring the best shoes, by acquiring the best purse, the best car, the best perfume, I will become happy. These things can provide some comfort. They may provide some attention from people, but it is not sustainable. No one can be eternally attractive. Even the greatest movie stars have anxiety that I'm getting wrinkles now. I need to get my Botox, or I need to get a facelift, or I need to get a hair transplant. They have these anxieties because they are invested in material attributes. They feel that these material attributes will make them happy. But actually, it is just not sustainable. They are fighting a losing battle. Whereas a devotee is invested in relationship with Krishna. And it is Krishna's promise. And we have practically seen this innumerable times in the lives of great devotees that Krishna reciprocates. It is Krishna's promise in Bhagavad Gita. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam sateva bhajamya. Everywhere Krishna speaks about reciprocation. Krishna says, Man mana bhava mad bhakto mad yajimam namaskuru. Think of me, become my devotee, worship me, offer your respects to me. And what is the result? Mam eva shasi satyam te pratijane priyosim. I promise you, my dear, you will come to me. Mam eva shasi, you will come to me. It's all about reciprocation. You think of Krishna, Krishna is thinking of you. You love Krishna, Krishna loves you back. Relationship is based on reciprocation. And Krishna is the ultimate reciprocator. That's why he's called Achyut. He will never fail to reciprocate. He will never fail to reciprocate. Achyut, infallible in his reciprocation. We are seeing how Krishna is visiting the Pandavas in Indraprasth. A very beautiful incident happened in Indraprasth. Draupadi was the queen, and she was living in this beautiful palace, Indraprasth, with the ultimate opulence you can imagine. The palace itself was built by Vishwakarma, and it had upgrades. See how we purchase a house and then we make upgrades in the house. So the house was built by Vishwakarma, and there were upgrades by Maya Danav. So it was the most opulent palace with 5 powerful husbands protecting her, so many maid servants serving her. Draupadi Devi was living very happily in Indraprasth. Duryodhan, Dushasan, and their father Dhritarashtra, they were ruling in Hastinapur. But there was a separate kingdom, Indraprasth, where Maharaj Yudhishthir was the king. And the queen was Draupadi Devi. And Krishna is their friend, so Krishna and Balram visit them. Even though Draupadi had so many maid servants to assist her, when Krishna would come, she would personally serve Krishna in every possible way. She would personally cook, she would personally serve, she would personally attend to every need of Krishna. She was completely absorbed in service to Krishna. And Krishna would stay there for months at a stretch. And those were the most blissful days for the Pandavas and their wife, Draupadi. One day, Draupadi was serving the Pandavas, and she had cooked puris and sabji and different varieties of rice and dal and sweets. And they were sitting together eating very nice food. And Draupadi ji was serving them. And Krishna felt like eating a little fruit. And there was a plate with fruits and a knife kept there. And Krishna wanted to share the fruit with his friends, Arjun, Yudhishthir, Bhim, Nakul, Sahadev. So he took the fruit and he was cutting it with a knife so that he can have a piece and he can give it to others also. Srila Prabhupada was like that in New York. When Srila Prabhupada was in the original storefront, Matchless Gifts in Manhattan, Srila Prabhupada had very little means. There's hardly any money. Every month he would depend on some well-wishers to pay the next month's rent. Prabhupada would bring one apple and he would give Bhagavad Gita classes Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays in the evening. And after the class, he would take one apple after each class, cut it into many pieces, and give one small piece to each attendee. That's all Srila Prabhupada could afford. So Krishna also took this apple and he wanted to cut it into maybe 6 pieces. And all 6 of them wanted to eat together. But when Krishna was attempting to cut the apple, Krishna, who is the most expert, the infallible Lord, cut his finger. There was a cut to his finger, and his finger started bleeding. And Draupadi ji was there serving them, and her immediate response was not that, oh, someone get a band-aid, please. Or Krishna, hold pressure on it. No. Her immediate response was she took her sari and ripped a strip out of her sari, her pallu of her sari. She tore a strip and wrapped it around Krishna's bleeding finger. Draupadi's sari was made from the finest, most expensive silk. It was such a fine silk that it is said the entire sari, which was 9 yards long, could be folded. It was such a fine, high quality silk. It could be folded and it could pass through Draupadi's bangle, the entire sari. It was such a fine silk. And that silk was embroidered with pure gold threads. And it was studded with the most precious gems like pearls and diamonds. This was the sari of Draupadi. It was very opulent. And she did not think that, oh, my sari will get spoiled. Someone get a cloth, someone get a band-aid. No. She just took her sari and tore a strip and wrapped it tightly around Krishna's bleeding finger. This is love, spontaneous love. And Krishna looked at her very gratefully and said, someday I will reciprocate. Today you have given me some sari, someday I will give you sari. Hare Krishna. And then we know sometime later the Pandavas were invited to Hastinapur for a friendly gamble where they were cheated and they lost Draupadi, who was brought to the court, and an attempt was made to strip her. At that time, Krishna provided unlimited sari to Draupadi. So Krishna is ultimate when it comes to loving exchanges. Exchange means it's a loving give and take. Dadati pratigrinati. You give and you take. You give love and you receive love. That is a relationship. That is a relationship. And the Supreme Lord will never disappoint us. If we invest our love in things and people of this world, we are sure to be disappointed someday. That's why there are so many breakups and divorces and fights. But if we invest in Krishna, we will never be disappointed. History is witness to this fact. So many devotees have invested so much for Krishna, and Krishna has always reciprocated abundantly. Srila Prabhupada had 40 Indian rupees when he came. And Srila Prabhupada gave everything for Krishna. And within 11 years, Srila Prabhupada had 108 temples and thousands of disciples who were willing to do anything for Prabhupada. Prabhupada left behind his 3 children and wife to save the world. And when Prabhupada was leaving this world, he had thousands of devotees who loved Prabhupada and would do anything for Prabhupada. Anything. They gave the best years of their life to Srila Prabhupada. They traveled with Prabhupada. They gave up their careers, their families, their education for Prabhupada, living in temples and serving day and night without expecting anything material. Because Prabhupada represents Lord Balaram, he represents Adi Guru Tattva. And Therefore, serving Srila Prabhupada is not different from serving Krishna. And serving Guru and Krishna, serving Krishna and Balaram will lead to the ultimate reciprocation, where we will get abundant returns on our investment. Not that we expect return. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim. We don't expect. But that's just Krishna's nature. The nature of this material world is to take everything from us. Mrityu sarva haras chaham. The nature of this world is it will take away everything from us. And the nature of Krishna is he gives everything to us. That's just Krishna's nature. Today is Ramanavami. When Vibhishan gave up his brother and surrendered to Ram, Vibhishan Sharanagati on the banks of the ocean, in the very first meeting, Lord Ramachandra said, Sakrideva prapannoyam tavasmiti sayachate abhayam sarvada tasmai dadami etad vratam mama. O Vibhishan, you have left your brother's shelter. You have left your elder brother Ravan for my sake, and you have come to take shelter of me. I promise to give you eternal protection, because just once you have said to me that, O Ram, I am yours. Tava asmi iti yachate sakrideva. Just once you told me that I am yours. From today, I will make you mine. Abhayam sarvada tasmai dadami. I give you eternal fearlessness. I give you eternal protection, Vibhishan. And I make you the king of Lanka. This is the reciprocation of Lord Ramachandra. And Lord Ramachandra never wavered in his resolve. And Vibhishan became the king of Lanka forever. Even today, he became immortal by the blessings of Lord Ramachandra. So today is Ramanavami. It is a day for us to reflect on the direction of our life, on the purpose of our life. Where are we going? Are we going towards a materialistic life, or are we going towards a spiritual life? And if we are going towards a spiritual life, how seriously are we going? And are we making any tangible progress? These auspicious days, holy days, are periods for us to truly take stock of our situation. Where am I? What are the mistakes I am doing? What are the pitfalls in my spiritual journey? And what can I do to make steady spiritual advancement? And let me take complete shelter of Krishna on this auspicious day of Ramanavami, so that I can make my life truly successful. So it's a day of reflection. It's a day to rededicate, recommit ourselves to the spiritual path, which is a path of unlimited happiness. And this is something experiential. It has to be practiced and experienced. It is not theoretical. So let us give Krishna consciousness a very serious attempt, and then let us experience for ourselves the sweetness and the bliss of Krishna consciousness, which is very simple. It is so simple that one may miss it. Really, just by chanting a mantra, everything is possible. Just by eating Krishna Prasad, everything is possible. Just by making friendship with all these simple people, devotees, everything is possible. Yes, it is. It is too simple, but too sublime. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. If there are any questions, we will stop here and take some questions.
Yeah, I thank you, Ādi Gadādhara Prabhu. Wonderful class. Temple room. Any reflections, Ādi Purusha Prabhu?
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much. We are always refreshed by your conviction and your wisdom, the grace of your spiritual masters exhibited by your class. You mentioned the idea of the happiness and distress of this world, and that it's recommended that we rise above those, matras, parshas, tukantena, that these things are coming. And you pointed out that devotional service is the key, that our focus is not achieving pleasure, avoiding pain, but how can I serve you, Lord, come what may, under any circumstance? And that that empowers. That's why you're so empowered, is because you're so fixed in devotional service to Krishna. We had an experience a while ago when we were collecting donations to prepare Radha Muralidas temple. It's a quick testimony. I hope I don't take too long. We went into this one office, and there were all different compartments and people working there. And the first several people that we went to, they were not responsive. We failed to inspire them, right? And I was considering Krishna, what can I do to touch their heart? And then we went into this one room, and there was a very distinguished looking gentleman, very well dressed, obviously very intelligent, probably the boss and the leadership person there. And he said to me, "I don't think you should be here doing this." The classic, "You can't do this here. What do you think you're doing?" And he said, because I had approached him, he said, "But even though I think you're not supposed to be here, there's one thing that I can't quite figure out. I can see that you deeply believe in what you're doing." And he said, "If I'm brutally honest with myself, I must admit, I don't believe in what I'm doing." I don't know why I'm doing what I'm doing. It doesn't seem to be, something's wrong there. I see the contrast that you even in a controversial situation, you believe in what you're doing. And I'm very impressed with that. And the other thing is, besides that conviction that what you're doing is important, somehow or other, even though you want me to give you something, I can see that you care about me, that you're asking me to give you something, but that you're actually trying to somehow or other benefit me. And that's also very, I was surprised, man, it's so much, integrity and intelligence to be able to see. And certainly that's what we aspire for. And that's what we see in Srila Prabhupada, rising above the happiness and distress and just trying to please Krishna and being convinced that this is what I must do. And no external variation of, how people respond is affecting that. This is what I'm doing because my criteria is this what Krishna wants? Will this please Krishna? I'll do it no matter what. So then even though he made a whole presentation about how he shouldn't be there and, why do you think you can come in here and do this? He gave a $2,000 NTD donation, which is about $70. So because I actually see that you believe in what you're doing, and because I really believe you're trying to help me, I can't understand it, but I'm going to give. So this is what we're called upon, and we can all look in our heart and say, am I just nibbling around the edges of Krishna consciousness? Or am I like Ādi Gadādhara Prabhu, who's just so fixed and determined in devotional service that he's pulling other people out of material life and inspiring them to give their whole heart and soul in the service of Krishna. How wonderful. How wonderful is Krishna. Okay, well, glory to Prabhupada. That was kind of a scrambled and convoluted contribution, but it's what came up for me today. Glory to Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Adi Purush Prabhu.
Anyone else in the temple room wants to speak?
Angel. Everyone is stunned and satisfied to hear from you.
Okay, then Zoomers, speak. Ask a question. Okay, I'm gonna call out. I'm gonna call on Mike Prabhu. Mike, what's your takeaway?
Hare Krishna, thank you for class this morning. It was really lovely. My takeaway is that, sorry, my dog's barking, there's workers outside. The reciprocal relationship we can have with the Lord. That, if we give even, and I like Adi Prabhu's story. You know, he always has the most glorious stories. You know, I love the way the talkers in the teachers in this class give the class, and then Adi Prabhu, he just adds this, like, I don't know, final touch that really solidifies it for me. Where, you know, even if you give a little in devotional service, no matter what it is, right? Even if I feel like even if you're in the hardest, most stressful times, and you're giving and thinking of Krishna, man, it does come back to you somehow, right? Like even if it's only the rounds you're chanting. Can you imagine, right? You're having, you know, you're having financial stress, medical stress, and you're like, why? But then you have that hour or two where you're chanting your rounds, and man, you're getting back, you're giving and getting back the reciprocal relationship there.
Wow, thank you, Mike. I really
Namaste.
felt the joy about Krishna consciousness and chanting. Thank you. Yeah, that's how we face what comes up in our life. That's our battlefield, the chant. Ādi Gadādhara Prabhu, there's a question in the chat from Krishna Gauda. He says, which sattvic pure foods should I eat daily, according to Bhagavad Gita? Does Bhagavad Gita mention any specific foods that Krishna Gauda should eat every day?
So Bhagavad Gita gives us general guidelines about what is in the mode of goodness, what is in the mode of passion, what is in the mode of ignorance, the foods. It doesn't specifically tell us, but our teachers, spiritual teachers, our acharyas, they have told us that the sattvic foods that Krishna is referring to are foods made up of milk, ghee, grains, millets, fruits, vegetables, things like that. And onion and garlic, they are not to be consumed by devotees because they increase the mode of passion and ignorance. According to Ayurveda, they are aphrodisiacs. So they increase material desires, lusty desires, and alcohol, it's in the mode of ignorance. Eating meat that gives pain to other animals, that is in the mode of ignorance. And drugs and other intoxicants like tobacco, caffeine, they are also in the mode of passion and ignorance. So these are the things that cannot be offered to Krishna. Because Krishna is first class, we can only offer first class things to Krishna. So only mode of goodness, foodstuffs can be offered to Krishna. And those are grains, millets, vegetables, fruits, milk products, like that. Hare Krishna. And paneer, my favorite.
It's so wonderful that you mentioned that we're supposed to offer it to Krishna. That's the criteria. Right? What's offerable, then that's good. That goes above all other considerations. Okay, Janitai says, just found out that Darshan will not open till 8:30 a.m. Apologies for late notice. Jai Shri Ram. Okay. Right. Bhima Prabhu. Are your horses vegetarian? Is their diet sattvic?
Their diet is their diet is my labor. Yesterday or 2 days ago, I brought in 300 bales of hay. Had to hump them up into the loft, which is above me here. And I was noting with some amount of alacrity and irony that I bring in all this material goods, and then I bring it down and I feed it out to the horses, and then it goes through them and comes out the other end, and then I have to scoop that up. Yes, and then I take it and I put it in a big pile, and then I have to take some of it and slurry it and put it on the field so that we can grow crops into the future. So it is a wild life in the material world. We see this consistent interplay of material nature. But what I'd like to say, ask Ādi Gadādhara, is Prabhu, you are a aging. I know you. Yes, we're all aging. You
No,
are
he's
a doctor. What's that?
He's eternal.
Yes, he's eternal. Okay, so my question is there cognitive, do you face cognitive dissonance when you have to deal with patients who are asking you to extend their lives when you know what the truth is, in regards to adding 1 second onto what is destined us? How do you do? I remember I used, and I'll make this quick. Not a few years back, I was doing whatever I could do to, take the right herbs and exercise and everything. And as I got older, I got injured and couldn't keep up with my diet because of work and et cetera, et cetera. And I just sort of like let go and let God type of thing. How do you deal with people who are anxious to extend their life, if that's what your specialty is, your medicinal specialty?
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Bhima Prabhu. We can reveal or share spiritual wisdom only to the degree the person is willing to hear and ready to hear. If a person is very much absorbed in the bodily consciousness, then it is very difficult to talk about transcendence. I like to give my patients the analogy of a car when I'm having end-of-life discussions or a serious illness discussion, goals of care discussion. I like to give the analogy of a car because everyone has experience with a car in this world. So I tell them that if someone is old and having problems that cannot be really fixed, I tell them that you are like a car with 200,000 miles on it. And, things are not going to be pristine like they were when you were in your youth. And usually people tend to resonate with that analogy of a car. And I tell them that there are some things that when you go for oil change can be picked up. This is low and that is low, and this is some things cannot be picked up, cannot be detected, and a car may sometimes just break down abruptly without warning. And our human body is a machine. Yantra rudhani maya. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says this body is like a yantra, it's a machine. And things may go wrong in your body, but you should know that you are not the car. You are driving the car, but you are the driver. And similarly, this body is something that we are driving, but we are not the body. We are passengers. We are the driver in the body. And the purpose of this car is to take us to God. So you don't know when your car will break down. So better not to take any detours anymore and just go straight to the destination where we want to go. Then when you are in the driveway of the destination, even if your car breaks down, no problem, just open the door and enter the house. But if you're miles and miles away from destination when your car breaks down, then you have a problem. There may not be a AAA to call or roadside assistance to call. So I tell them the good news is reaching your destination can be immediate because of the verse that we just discussed. Sakrideva prapannoyam tavasmiti sayachate abhayam sarvada tasmai dadami etat vratam mama. When Srila Prabhupada was asked in Australia how much time it takes to get Krishna, how much time it takes to surrender to Krishna, there is a famous video on YouTube where Srila Prabhupada said, 1 minute, 1 moment. Prabhupada says, 1 moment. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Sarva dharman paritejya mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksheshyami ma sucha. If you surrender to Krishna, and today we are talking about surrender, if we surrender to Krishna, then immediately Krishna accepts us. And Krishna accepting us means the car has pulled into the, not just the driveway, into the garage of the destination where you want to reach. Now, whether the car breaks down, doesn't start, different alarms go off, doesn't matter. Just exit the car and go to Krishna. We are ready. So many times I've explained to my patients that now is the time to surrender to God. And I practice in Atlanta, Georgia. This is the Bible Belt. You know, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida. This is the Bible Belt. Most of the people are faithful Christians, and they are very receptive to this because they know that if they are faithful Christians, they are going to a better place. And I still remember, this was quite recently. I had a 75-year-old lady who came from South Georgia, and she just developed jaundice. Her son works in Atlanta. He saw her on FaceTime. Mom, you've got yellow eyes. So he just drove down there and brought her to the hospital where I worked, to the ER. And sure enough, we did a scan, and she had cancer of the pancreas that was blocking her bile duct, and she had jaundice, and it had spread to the lungs and liver. So I told her that you have very little time left. And would you like to give chemotherapy a try? We can even try to do ERCP and put a stent in your bile duct to relieve your jaundice. It's temporary, but it may at least relieve your itching and reduce the jaundice for some time. And we can give a trial of chemotherapy to see how much you respond, how much you're able to tolerate the chemotherapy. And she said, no, doc. All my life, I have been a faithful Christian. And I know Jesus is calling me. And guess what? I am ready to meet Jesus. I don't want ERCP. I don't want chemotherapy. I am at peace with myself. I have a strong relationship with Jesus, and I'm ready to go meet him. I'm ready to go to a better place. Why should I try to prolong my existence in this weak body, which has got cancer, cachexia? I'm so thin, lost so much weight over the last few months. I didn't know cancer was growing within me. But now I know, and this cancer is actually a call from Jesus. He's calling me. And doc, I'm ready to go. I embraced her. I was so happy. I said, you have made my day. Will you pray for me? And I will pray for you. She said, you pray for me that I meet Jesus very soon. And I said, you pray for me also. And she said, doc, what do you want me to pray for you? I said, pray that when I am in your situation, when I am at the end of my life, I can have the same consciousness that you have, where I have a strong relationship with my God, and I am looking forward to meeting my God, my sweet Lord. Will you pray for me? And tears in her eyes, she held my hand. She actually kissed my hand, and she said, I promise you, I'll pray for you, like this. So it was the most fulfilling moment for me as a doctor. And I don't know if that helps, Bhima Prabhu, but it's one of the experiences I had.
I have one response. Hallelujah. That's great. That's what I was shooting for. What nectar you must get, helping people face their fear, face the fear of the so-called planned obsolescence of this body. Just like with cars, we have a planned obsolescence. Eventually, the body. Once we've accepted that, I'm 60 years old now, and so I remember asking my brother, what happens at 60 when I pass that threshold? He's 65. He says at 60, when you get injured, you don't get better. You carry the injury with you. It never heals. And it's sort of like feeling that these days. So, and then when you learn to accept that, and then you see that this is just that, that moment where you just got to, get off the exit and head home and get into that driveway and get out of that car and get into that house and find where Krishna is hanging out and sit down on the couch and have a good long talk. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Bhima Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhus. Yeah, people may be coming to us for all kinds of different reasons. They may come to Ādi Gadādhara Prabhu for a facelift, but they'll walk away with so much more. They will walk away with a little dose of Krishna Bhakti that Ādi Gadādhara Prabhu deems appropriate, that they may assimilate nicely. Like Jeffrey Eckler is a real estate tycoon. They may come to him for a house, but they'll walk away with Bhakti. Yeah, that's the real reason underneath everything. That's why people are in our life, to get Bhakti. Okay. All right, Ādi Gadādhara Prabhu, any final instructions? Or maybe we have a question in the audience. Let's take one more. One more. Anyone from the Zoom audience?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Feel free.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
I put a question in the chat. It's a fairly simple one, but just concerning timing here, was Balaram in the palace of Duryodhana at the time that he sent the agents to the House of Black?
Was Balaram living in the palace of Duryodhan to teach him to fight at the same time he sent agents to the house of Lack? Jeffrey Prabhu, no. Balramji taught how to fight with the Gada, with the club, to Duryodhan in a place called Mithila, which is the birthplace of Sita ji. So that was not in Hastinapur. It was at another time where,
Okay.
yeah, it was not at the same time.
They just both came up at the same time in the discussion and in class, and I just wanted to make sure I understood that.
Yeah. So
It
this,
would have been strange, don't you think, if he was there? It would have been strange that could have happened. And so I was wondering.
right. Yeah, but it was
Thank you
not.
for clearing that.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. It happened. So Balramji teaching Duryodhan happened later. Hare Krishna.
And how do we process that? The fact that Balaram teach Duryodhana, how do we as devotees process that?
My spiritual master, His Holiness Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj, in a class explained this many years ago. Maharaj was asked the same question, and Maharaj gave a very beautiful answer. Maharaj said, Balram is Nityananda. He is inconceivable. And he taught how to fight with the club to Duryodhan. Not only that, Balramji wanted his younger sister Subhadra to marry Duryodhan. So inconceivable. Not just that. When Bhim finally hit Duryodhan and gave him a hip fracture and left him to die on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Balramji was livid. Bhim, how could you hit my Duryodhan under the waist? I will kill you. And Balramji attacked Bhim to kill. And Krishna came in the middle and he held Balram. Balram, stop, brother. Stop. So Maharaj was saying Balramji's behavior is inconceivable. Yet, there is a very deep lesson behind why Balramji is behaving like this. And Maharaj explained. Maharaj said, in the previous incarnation, Balramji came as the younger brother of the Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord came as Lord Ramachandra, and today is Ramanavami. And Balramji came as the younger brother, Lakshman. And Lord Ram, being the elder brother, would always command Lakshman, prepare a huge fire because Sita must enter the fire. Agni Pariksha. We will test her whether she has been chaste to me or not. We will test her purity. Now Lakshman worshipped Srimati Sita Devi on the altar of his heart. He never looked above her lotus feet. It is mentioned in Ramayana that Lakshman never addressed Sita ji by her name or calling her Bhabi, which means sister-in-law. Lakshman always addressed Sita ji as mother. That's how much he respected Sita ji. To create a fire and to tell Sita, go and enter that fire and get burnt. This service was given to Lakshman by Ram. And Lakshman didn't want to do it. But because Ram commanded, Lakshman had to do. But of course, Lord Ram knew that there is no one as pure as Sita. And Sita came out unscathed from the fire. And the whole world glorified Sita for her purity. But when that fire was created by Lakshman, it was very painful for Lakshman to do that. Not only that, later on, it was Ram who told Lakshman, take Sita to the forest, to the ashram of Valmiki Muni, and leave her there and come back. And Lakshman was crying. He fell at the feet of Ram. He said, please, don't do this. Why are you doing this? She's pregnant. She's helpless. She's so pure. She knows nobody other than you. When Dashrath Maharaj told Sita, Ram has been banished to the forest for 14 years. You have not been. You stay with me here in Ayodhya. Or you can stay with your father in Janakpur. You don't have to go with Ram to the forest. At that time, Sita had said, to be with Ram in the forest is to be in the most comfortable, luxurious palace. But to be in this palace without Ram is to be in the most deadly forest with the most ferocious animals. I cannot live without Ram. These were the words of Sita. And that Sita you want me to take in the forest and leave her in the ashram of Valmiki Muni, never to come back? Oh Ram, please don't make me do this most painful service. Tell me any other service. But Ram persisted. No, Lakshman, you have to do it. So Lakshman decided, Chaitanya Charitamrita tells us, Lakshman decided in the next incarnation, I will not be the younger brother. I will be the elder brother. So this Ram cannot command me. I will command him. So in the next incarnation, Lakshman became Balaram and Ram is Krishna, the younger brother. And Balaram is the elder brother. And as elder brother, Balaram is teaching how to fight with the Gada to Duryodhan. He wants to kill Bhim because Bhim hit Duryodhan under the belt. How can you do this to my Duryodhan? Balaramji is saying. And he wants Subhadra to marry Duryodhan. Krishna wants Subhadra to marry Arjun. And Balaramji wants Subhadra to marry Duryodhan. But through all these examples, Balaramji is teaching us one lesson that we should understand. And that lesson is, no matter who you are, you may be as powerful as Balaram. You may be as strong as Balaram. You may be as influential as Balaram. If you are on the opposite side of Krishna, you will not be successful. Balaramji tried to kill Bhim, but Krishna stopped him. Balaramji tried to get Duryodhan married to Subhadra, but he failed. So by failing repeatedly, Balaramji is teaching us, you may be as great as me, as Balaram, but if you are against the desires of Krishna, you will fail. And Bhishma Dev is also teaching us the same principle. You may be as powerful as Bhishma Dev. If you are on the opposite side of Krishna, you will not be successful. So this very important lesson Balaramji is teaching us by becoming almost like a villain, almost like a negative example. But Balaramji has no qualms doing that to glorify Krishna. And Maharaj said, so even though he is the elder brother, the mood of serving Krishna, the mood of glorifying Krishna has not gone. And Balaramji is showing himself as a failure so that Krishna is glorified and Krishna is proclaimed as the supreme personality of Godhead. Is that helpful, Prabhuji?
Very helpful. It's more than helpful.
Hare Krishna.
Like we said earlier, we may ask for something where we get so much more. That's what happens when we address Krishna, when we approach his devotees, we get so much more than we could have asked for. Thank you, Ādi Gadādhara Prabhu. Bhima Prabhu, you have your hand up. Beam, why did you strike him below the waist?
A broken hip wasn't the problem. It was much worse than that. I have a question, Prabhuji, and that is, it seems that, you know, we talk about, and the most endearing characteristic, especially about our particular consciousness with Krishna's, is his Leela. That's his play. And if we are to take that at face value, then can we assume that our time here on earth is like what Shakespeare said, all the world is a stage, and each man in his time, each man and woman in their time plays many parts, so that this time on earth is a stage where we have our entrances and our exits, and that eventually the play has its plot. It is written by Krishna, and that Krishna is indeed the leading role and the hero in the end, no matter what, because that's how he wrote the script. Is this a healthy conception of what we're going through here?
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada on the Jaladuta wrote very beautiful bhajans, 2 bhajans. In one of those bhajans, Srila Prabhupada writes, when he's seeing the Boston skyline, as Prabhupada is approaching Boston, before he came to New York. First, when he had the first glimpse of America, Srila Prabhupada wrote these words in his diary, the Jaladuta diary. आनियाचो जदि प्रभु आमारे नाचते नाचाओ नाचाओ प्रभु नाचाओ से मते काष्ठेर पुतली जथा नाचाओ से मते नाचाओ नाचाओ प्रभु नाचाओ से मते तव कृपा हले मोरा कथा शुद्ध हबे शुनिया सबार शोक दुख जे घुचिबे. Srila Prabhupada, his heart overflooding with compassion, he's saying, Ani acho jadi Prabhu, hey Krishna, now that you have brought me here, amare nachate. Now that you have brought me here, now make me dance. Nachna means to dance. Amare nachate. You make me dance. How? Nachao, nachao, Prabhu, nachao se mate. Make me dance the way you want me to dance. You are the script writer. You are the puppeteer. Kasthera putali yata nachao se mate. Nachao, nachao, Prabhu, nachao se mate. Make me a puppet. A wooden puppet. Kashtha means wood. Putali means puppet. Kasthera putali yatha. Nachao se mate. Nachao, nachao, Prabhu. Nachao se mate. Make me dance, Krishna, the way you want me to dance. You are the script writer. You are the director. You are the proprietor. You are the puppeteer. I just want to be a willing puppet in your hands. So this analogy, ultimately Shakespeare also is getting his intelligence from Krishna. Buddhim buddhimatam chaham. Krishna says, I am the intelligence of the intelligent. He's getting his intelligence also from Krishna. So with certain caveats, yes, this analogy of Shakespeare is okay. And the caveat is, sometimes people misunderstand the law of karma and they say that the script is already written. Everything is predestined. Oh, will you come for the Thursday Kirtan? Oh, if Krishna wants, I will come. Otherwise, I'll go to the mall. So this is a misunderstanding of what is destiny and what is free will. So it's not that the script is already written. We have to become a willing puppet in the hands of Krishna. Then Krishna will hand over the script to us. Then Krishna will make us dance to his tune. There is destiny based on our previous activities, but there is also free will. Both are there. And kim karma krima karmeti kavayopi iha muhyati. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that this law of karma, the way karma works, is very intricate, complicated. Even a wise person is bewildered. Kavayopi atra muhyati. Even a kavi will get mohit. He will get bewildered. So no one can say that this happened to a person because of his karma, and no one can say that this happened because of misuse of free will. For example, 9/11. Can someone say that, oh, the Americans were destined to die because of their karma? No. It was the misuse of the independence of the terrorists. How can you blame innocent people who are traveling? But the terrorists may say, oh, it was your karma that you died. No one knows what is karma and what is misuse of free will, what is destiny and what is misuse of free will or proper use of free will. Both are intertwined in this world, and only Krishna knows because he's Paramatma. He knows our karma and he knows our intentions. We don't know. So, with that caveat that everything is not predestined, there is destiny, but there is a lot of free will also. For example, right now we can be hearing Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Right now we can be waiting to take darshan of Radha Muralidhar, or we could be watching Netflix. The choice is ours. So it's not just destiny, but there is also free will. Both are there. How tall I am, what is my height, what is the complexion of my skin, which family I am born in, that is all destiny, predestined based on my karma. But what I do with my time is my free will. So with that little caveat, yes, the analogy is okay. Is that okay, Bhima Prabhu?
It's coming up. Let's see. Let's see if it's okay.
Hallelujah.
Bhima Prabhu, I have one more analogy for you from Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj. You said I'm 60 and now things don't heal properly. Maharaj says, gives a very nice analogy. Very quickly, I'll tell. Maharaj gives the analogy of the traffic light, traffic signal. Maharaj says in the youth of our life, it's green light. And when we cross 50, it's yellow light. And red light means death. And Maharaj says after yellow, it will only be red. It will never become green. And yellow stays yellow light stays for a very small time.
Yeah, I pulled out in a red light and got T-boned by another car. That's my life.
Hare Krishna.
Jai, thank you, Ādi Gadādhara. Wonderful
Hare
class.
Krishna. Can you hear me okay? Hello?
Yes, yes.
We have a friend named Zamir. You remember Zamir?
Yeah.
And, you know, we ask him for a donation. He knows about the prasad distribution for the homeless. And he'll say, Alhamdulillah, if the Lord willing, I will give a donation. And then when he doesn't give the donation, he goes, well, I guess the Lord wasn't willing. So sometimes people use that as an excuse.
Yeah. Okay. Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Ādi Gadādhara Prabhu and his disciples who were on this call. We had 50 people at one point. Thank you, Ādi Gadādhara Prabhu. Thanks everyone for participating in this sangha. This is a show where we're not the star of the show. We're a puppet, not a lifeless puppet, but a willing puppet, like Ādi Gadādhara Prabhu said. And if you want to be a puppet of Maya, Maya will make you hurt. If you want to be a puppet of Krishna, Krishna will make you his own, like Ādi Gadādhara Prabhu said.
Ādi Gadādhara Prabhu, if we do everything right as a puppet, do we eventually lose our strings and become like Pinocchio, a real boy, eventually? I want to be a real boy.
We become Gop Kumar in Bhagavatam. Krishna will embrace us. Bhima Prabhu, Maya will give us hurt and Krishna will give us mirth.
There we go. Yes, to be jolly is a good sign. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.